Welcome back in. We are following two big stories happening here in D.C. today. First is the former Olympian David Hearn pleading not guilty to damaging the reflecting pool. And the other big story is President Trump's controversial DOJ fund to compensate people claiming to be unfairly prosecuted by the previous administration may not be dead yet. Joining us now to talk about all of this is Scott MacFarlane, a Washington correspondent, and also YouTube and Substack. So let me begin with that. Congrats on all the success that you've seen on these platforms, celebrating 200,000 on YouTube.
Officially, I can make this very official. YouTube is no longer cool for my kids because Dad's on it.
Right, Dad's
we don't
on
need
it,
that
right?
anymore.
Well, or maybe it makes Dad cool.
Not quite there
Let's
yet.
look at it that
We're working
way.
on it, though.
All right. Scott, let's start with David Hearn and the reflecting pool case. He was in court today. It was a short arraignment hearing. We know that he has another hearing scheduled for next week. Tell us what came out of court today, and is this case being seriously taken?
This case just veered into the slow lane. This thing's not going to trial anytime in 2026. If it goes on trial, it would be 2027 at the soonest. David Hearn, through his defense lawyer, Norm Eisen, local here, D.C. area, is clearly trying to push this thing forward. They're making the argument, this is not criminal to put your hands in the reflecting pool, and they're not giving any indication they want to plead this thing out or make it go away. They want to fight this moving forward. David Hearn got a hero's welcome. You see the images there. And John's report was quite comprehensive. There were people applauding him for taking a stand against the administration in court.
His attorneys, Hearn's attorneys, are calling this an example of the administration sort of just like, you know, passing the buck, placing blame for the project's failure. What is the indication here so far in regards to that? Will this case even hold up?
Whether the case holds up is a great open-ended question. Whether the reflecting pool has been a failure is not in question. Trump himself has said, we have to drain this thing again, we have to repair it again, we have to refill it again. The president indicated that could happen as soon as the July 4th celebrations were over. Well, we're 6 days later and it hasn't begun yet. You can go down to the pool. I was there just a few moments ago. It is still greenish. It is still fenced off. It is still inaccessible. They're going to have to get after that. But there's a new lawsuit in the D.C. federal court seeking the court to intervene to get experts or some type of other scrutiny on this project before they try it again with the same contractor. That'll go back to court in the next week or two.
It is just far from being over, isn't it? I mean, this is ongoing. It's an ongoing
It's going to be a
saga.
chronic issue for a while now.
That's right. That's right. Let's turn to the president's controversial DOJ fund. And there is a court hearing in Alexandria next week about this. Bring us up to speed on that and what we might learn out of court.
Remember that little chestnut, $1.7 billion in a fund for potentially convicted criminals and January 6 rioters. Still unpopular universally with Democrats, including the Maryland and Virginia delegations. Not a lot of Republicans championing this thing. The judge in Alexandria, Lonnie Brinkema, she put a hold on it. She froze this thing in place pending further arguments. Those arguments are Wednesday at the courthouse in Alexandria. There are also 2 lawsuits here in D.C. trying to stop this thing. There are many different people trying to freeze this thing in place. The judge in Virginia seems to be the one getting after it most aggressively. We'll find out what happens midday Wednesday.
That will be interesting. Also next week is the confirmation hearing for Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche. How do you see that going? Same
day. It's also Wednesday. And here's the thing. He's going to be asked about the slush fund. And he may not know what's happening in the courthouse one community over. Todd Blanche has no apparent support among Democrats. He's going to have to find 50 votes among Republicans. There are questions about the slush fund with Tom Tillis, Republican from North Carolina who's retiring. He's got to get past the slush fund to get past the confirmation vote. Really, that seems to be the holdup. There don't seem to be any other issues paralyzing this nomination, despite the questions about the Epstein files and despite Blanche's handling of the January 6 pardons.
Our time is limited here, but I can't let you go without asking about Senator Mitch McConnell. I mean, there's a lot of rumbling surrounding that. Are you hearing anything from your colleagues on the Hill?
Not a good sign that the governor of Kentucky made public his request for information from Senator McConnell. Certainly he should be briefed informally. That he went public saying, we don't know what your health is, not a good sign about transparency, nor the senator's health.
Scott MacFarlane, we appreciate you.
Anytime.
Why don't you let our viewers know how they can find you and keep up with you?
On YouTube, despite my kids' protests, you can watch Scott MacFarlane Reports twice a day. We post every morning and evening.
All right. Thank you, Scott. Hope to have you back.